How would you like to have a gourmet meal in a haunted house? One equipped with scary themes and scenes right down to animatronic monsters. But maybe experience life in black and white, like you were living inside a classic Frankenstein film. Some of us would be too scared to try it, but others would jump at the chance. The Windsor Scarehouse is offering these immersive dining experiences leading up to Halloween, and business has been scary good. To find out more about this, we're joined in our studio by one of the owners, Sean Lipper. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, how has it been going?
It's been well. I mean, we live for this moment, right? Every kid growing up was like, I can't wait for Halloween. Well, we start in like May,
Right.
when the weather breaks and we get in our building. So
Tell us about the theme dinners. They started a few years ago now.
yeah, we've been doing them since we're a product of COVID. That's what it was. We had a friend of ours say that he wanted to have dinner inside the haunt, and we're like, okay. I mean, we're not doing anything. We didn't build anything that year because we didn't even know if we were going to open. And we got the permission to open from the health board, and they're like, go nuts. And so we did. And we had that dinner, and we served him and 9 of his friends, and they had a blast. And we said, well, maybe the public would like this. And at the time, if you remember, we could have groups of 10, but we had to be in their own area or separated and stuff. So it was perfect for us. So we had a table of 10 in Curse Manor. I think we flipped it. It was just shy of 20 tables. So we did 200 people, and it was awesome. And we sold out. So the next year, we added another room. That sold out. And then we added another 2 rooms. Those sold out. And now we're at 5 rooms, and we've maximized our space. So now what we're doing is we're growing rooms. So instead of it being 10, frankly, it's black and white, is 36.
Wow. So how many people are you feeding a night?
We can flip over twice. So we can serve 114 for one seating and then flip that again and do another 114.
Are you selling out?
We are on Saturdays.
Wow. Are you surprised by that?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been growing in the community since 2008, and it's never stopped. We've always, in the beginning, we were traveling circus. We were trying to find places to go. We were in the basement of an old nightclub, Dante's, and then we were in a bingo hall, and we were in like wherever we could get our space. And then all of a sudden, we found our home, which was at 1441 McDougall. And then it's been exponential, because if you got to build something to take it down, it doesn't really get that expansion. But now when we build something, we build it with purpose, and it's permanent. And then now we can actually stretch our wings.
So take me inside the black and white dinner. What does it look like? What do I experience?
I don't even know how to explain it, because there's nothing like it.
Okay, good chat. No,
Yeah, so, like it's I tell people, like, I'm going to tell you, all right, you go into a room and you're in black and white. And then you're going to ask me, well, how is that possible? And I can't tell you, because it's too scientific for even my brain to get. But I can tell you the story, how it happened. I had a friend, Gavin Booth, who was researching lighting techniques. And he said, hey, there's this light. I found it. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's monochromatic. And I was like, well, how does that work? And he was like, just put it on and you're black and white. And I'm like, that's stupid. And he's like, yeah, he's like, figure it out, right? So we did. We went out and we were trying to understand how the technology worked, because it's just physics. And, you know, we're haunted house people, and you go boom, people get scared. That's the extent of our knowledge. So we brought in a bunch of lights, and they weren't working. There's like an electrician standing there scratching his head going, I don't know, man. And I'm like, so we spent 7 months. Finally, I just said, whatever. I went to YouTube. There was this guy giving this boring lecture. He was a professor in England. And I just asked him. I was like, hey, man, I'm building this thing. And he replied. And he was like, oh, yeah, you need this light. And I was like, okay. And he was, this is where you buy it. We bought it, brought it in. We turned it on. And the electrician had like suspenders on, and he had like yellow pliers and everything. And he was like, look at my pliers, you know? And I was like, whoa, and, you know, and then we pull out our light and look and go, holy, it worked. Like, we're in black and white right now. And that's how it happened. Like, it was like, I even had that moment on video, like, as I was recording it. I was like, because we're starting to look at each other, and we're all sinking into the fact that, like, we are black and white. And then now we're having a whole dining experience in there. And I had a bunch of people going through it because we had our kids event. It was a lights on tour with Special Olympics. So I would bring everybody through, and they're walking through, and they're like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I go, "Look at yourselves," and they're like, "Oh," and then they're not cluing in, and I go, "You're in a black and white movie right now." And then I would take my flashlight on my phone and I put it down to their kids, who's like all in rainbow, like they're all dressed up, and then all of us, everybody just goes, "Whoa!" And then there's a everybody clicks in and we're like, and then they start freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, look at you! Look at," because you don't experience it. Like, have you ever walked around and being black? No one has, but we
No.
figured out how to do it.
Amazing. What about the food? I'm wondering what I would want to eat and be scared eating.
You can't go wrong with Nico Taverna. So like, I'd never had a bad meal there ever. I mean, even on his worst day. One time he lost his hood fan and he couldn't cook in there and he scratched everything out on the menu and he was like, "This is all I can give you guys because our hood fan's all messed up." And it was still awesome.
But I'm thinking if you're eating something, wouldn't you be afraid of like choking or spilling or throwing? Like, how scared are you getting while you're eating?
We're not scared. So there are rules in the haunted house world, and there's one of the main rules is that you don't scare on stairs. And like we go through a boo school with all of our actors. Well, yeah, we have 120 people that will all come in, right from parking guys to the actors to hospitality, costuming, makeup. It's a full production, and they go to boo school. And one of them is teaching them like, "Hey, you don't scare on stairs." So when you're in the actual restaurant, we don't scare you. It's a performance. It's performance art. We've taken technology and animatronics and everything that we know in haunted houses. We put it into a room, like things move, and you're like, "How's that thing moving?" We have a rose in our story that actually dies. Practically, you look at it and it dies, but it also grows again. And it's a prop. And our guy Denny, he works at Centerline. He figured it out. He builds robots all day long. He makes things work. He figured out how to make that product work. It's just a story inside of technology with performance art. Because now we have Michelle and Mark, who are our actors. They've taken on the story.
And your haunted house has got the attention of other people in the industry. You mentioned before we went to air somebody who came from Detroit to look at it. You've been asked to go on a panel. Can you sort of explain what the interest is by the haunted community outside of Windsor?
All right, so like the nerdy side of this, like on our side, the industry side, the haunted house industry is billions now and it's growing exponentially. What theme parks have figured out is that most of their timing is done between, say, the beginning of the season, which would be like May 2-4, that area when it warms up, to Labor Day. And then it's done. Everybody goes to school and then it's all over. They've extended their seasons out from the end of August until October by doing their haunted house events. Halloween locally with Cedar Point. Universal Studios has a whole division. They start building their stuff in the summer now. They're building a theme park just for the haunted side of it in Vegas. So it's big money. And haunted houses have been at the forefront of that. That's the nerdy industry side of it. So like when we're all talking to each other, we're all always trying to figure out how we can do things. We started doing these immersive dinners, and now it's kind of getting into our little piece of the pie. And the haunted attraction network has a journalist that he's just a nerd like we are with this stuff. But his main business is actually theme parks. He was in Detroit visiting, and he heard about it and he was like, "Hey, I want to come over and experience this thing." And he came over and he did. He did it. He loved it. They did a video. They did a podcast with it. And it'll go into the vernacular of just us. But with just us is a big deal because he was like, what you figured out to do, what nobody else can do, is that you know how to do it in a small market. Because you can do this in New York, you can do this in Tokyo, you can do this in LA, Vegas, like they have the numbers, but we're just Windsor. And he was like, you cracked it, you figured it out. And no one's been able to do that. So we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of you as well. I'm wondering how long the Scarehouse dinners are going this season.
You can go to our website. It's scarehousewindsor.com, and you can purchase your time, and you just pick the days that are available. So most of them are just weekends, but we do have weeknights as we lead up to Halloween because we just got to fit everybody in. But dinners will start at like 6 o'clock or 6:30, And if those sell out, we'll have a second seating at 8:30, but that'll be like mainly on Saturday
Amazing.
nights.
Sean, thank you so much.
Oh, I had a
I'm glad the
blast.
lights are on in here, although I do want a black and white light in here. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but you got to light it from below so you look like mysterious.
Oh, I like that. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Sean Lifford is one of the owners of Windsor Scarehouse. The immersive dinner experience runs Fridays and Saturdays until Halloween. The time is 8:22. Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft tour has a date in Detroit tonight. Here it is with Therefore I Am.